Former federal prosecutor David Weinstein and partner at Jones Walker LLP is with us this morning. David, hello to you. There's a lot that will be decided today, perhaps, by this federal judge. What will the judge consider in determining if it was lawful for the president to send in the troops?
Well, good morning, Marni. A lot of it's going to be semantics. They're going to be arguing about a word. The word is through, and the governor contends that this process has to go through him. He has to request that the National Guard be sent in. The president is contending that that just means he has to notify the Guard through the governor, and that it doesn't mean by the governor. And so that's what they're going to be arguing about principally. In addition to that, the question is going to become, is there a need for these troops to be there? Are they being deployed and then depriving the state of their need to have these troops available to go elsewhere? There have been two briefs that have been filed on behalf of friends of the court, one by constitutional scholars, other by retired generals, and surprisingly, they both support the governor's position that he needs to be the one who asks for the Guard to be sent in, and that by deploying them, it's depriving California of their need to have these people available should the need arise elsewhere. And so that's what they're going to be arguing about today when the judge considers whether he's going to enter a temporary injunction precluding the president from entering into this order and forcing those troops to go there. But as always, Marni, it's not going to end there.
So why not? So then what?
Well, this judge will make a decision. It seems to me based on the papers, he's going to rule in favor of the governor. The president and his team have asked for a stay of his order. In all likelihood, he'll deny that. They'll then go to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. They'll have to consider whether to stay the order preventing the troops from coming in. And from there, as he has in the past, they'll take it up to the Supreme Court if he doesn't get the decision he wants.
Is there precedent for this, David?
Well, there is a small bit of precedent in terms of when has the National Guard been called out to quell a domestic disturbance. The two examples that they keep citing in both sides of the papers are when Eisenhower brought in the National Guard to help deliver mail, or perhaps it was Nixon. I'm getting the two incidents confused. And then another incident where the National Guard was brought in to protect federal buildings that were being attacked. There's also been mention of when the National Guard was brought in during the desegregation area. But again, that was to help quell unrest that existed, and those were instances where the country was being impeded by what was going on there. As the governor in California has pointed out, and other governors across the country have pointed out, their local law enforcement is doing a good job of stopping these protests and keeping them from becoming violent. And while there has been some isolated incidents of violence, for the most part, quite frankly, it's no different than some of the celebrations we see after professional sports teams win championships.
But how will the judge consider some of what was said early on, that the mayor said our city has hit its tipping point? The chief of police said we are overwhelmed. Will that be taken into consideration when the decision was made to bring in troops to assist?
Absolutely, Marni, because one of the other points that the president is arguing is that I'm the one who decides if there's a need to quell this disturbance and violence, and you can't second guess me. And as you've just mentioned, based on statements that were made by the mayor and the chief of police, they were saying that things were getting out of hand. Now, they've stepped back from that a little bit. They've said that we were just doing that to keep the people calm and to prevent more incidents from violence occurring. But you can bet that the president's legal team are going to use those people's words against them when they argue they shouldn't be allowed to bring in the National Guard.
Right, and what was being said when the decision was made. All right, it's going to be a critical day on all this. David Weinstein, thanks as always.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.